and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we are back with plenty of Barca news. Now we are into the final days of the international break. We can start to get excited again about Barca's return, but right here today we are going to be talking a bit about the break. Spain were incredible yesterday against Turkey, with several Barca players right at the very heart of that. We've also got more updates, a further update here on injuries. There's growing concern over Gavi right now, and we're going to be talking about several players ahead of the return of the Champions League, plus these rumours surrounding Marcus Rashford, and we're going to be debating the start that he's had to his Barca career. So all of that is coming up. Get ready, and let's do this. And I would just like to say right here, guys, a big thank you actually to each and every one of you for the incredible response really on the La Liga video that I did. I've got to be honest, sometimes when I do videos that maybe aren't all centred around Barca, I get a bit nervous, I don't know how it's going to go down, what the response is going to be, but it's been really, really amazing. Thank you for that. And I thought it was a message there that needed to be spoken about. We need to be talking about what's happening in the league, spreading that message far and wide so that other people as well know what's happening here. Some people from the outside who don't follow La Liga, they just focus on the Premier League, they just focus on what's happening at their club. They don't know the extent of what we're having to deal with here in La Liga with the spending restrictions. It is getting beyond ridiculous, so I really, really appreciate that support. But if we do switch over now to what has been happening in this international break, in Spain, like I say, were absolutely ruthless against Turkey last night. Such a phenomenal performance from them in front of goal. We did have on the Barca side 2 assists for Lamine Yamal. I mean, surprise, surprise, he was right in amongst it there. It was a really strong performance, I thought, from Lamine. Great to see that. There was also a nice goal in there for Ferran Torres as well. That was one of Lamine's assists there, just sliding it into Ferran Torres, and a good finish from him. And he's had a strong start of the season here. Goal scoring's looking good. He's looking very confident. I'm interested to see whether he is going to keep his place in the starting lineup against his former team, don't forget, Valencia on Sunday. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that Ferran should stay in the starting lineup? Lewandowski, of course, back fit now. He's ready. He's waiting in the wings. Will he be deployed on Sunday? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. But what we also had was just more magnificence from Pedri. I mean, this guy, I'm struggling. I really am. And not in a bad way, but in a good way. I'm just struggling to explain the way that he's playing right now, the way that he's sort of elevating his game even more, because now we're talking more about goals. Now we're talking about Pedri regularly chipping in here at the start of the new season. I mean, the first goal yesterday, it was absolutely amazing there. Drop of the shoulder, he's got phenomenal close control round the opponent and whips it into the back of the net. Absolutely incredible. The second finish as well was a really calm, composed one, finds the bottom corner. And I'm really excited about this because we know what Pedri can do. We know all about his game, the way that he is already the best midfielder in the world, in my opinion, and in many, many others as well. But imagine he starts adding regular goals. Imagine he actually adds to that game even more, another layer again. I mean, that would be extraordinary. I mean, we are seeing a young man here at the top of his game right now. He's so confident. He's playing with such a smile on his face as well. And what that is also doing is spreading that smile to every single one of us who have the pleasure of watching him. I would also today, guys, like to give you an update, or basically what we have right now in terms of the new stadium, being ready, or is it not going to be? All of us are sitting here wondering. Big thank you here to Hamza for the super thanks. And well, the latest update right now is we still don't actually know what is going to happen this weekend against Valencia. I mean, the game is only on Sunday. We still do not know where we are playing. And I think what Barca tried to do here is just delay and delay and delay, give themselves every possible chance of the stadium being ready to host that game. But I think tomorrow, that's going to be the key time there. Somebody from the council in Barcelona is going to be at the stadium. They're going to be doing all the examinations, all the different tests they need to do to see if it is ready to host a game. I think right now, because of how late things are, because of the delays, it's looking unlikely, in my opinion. And in that instance, of course, that we will then move over to Estadi Johan Cruyff for this particular league game. But I think in terms of the Champions League, of course, we've given ourselves more time. Luckily, we're away, first of all, against Newcastle. The first home game is the one against PSG. That gives us more time for the stadium to be ready for that. But in terms of La Liga, it's a race against time. And ultimately, it's on Tuesday where we should find out definitively where we are playing. Which indeed does bring us on then to start thinking once again about the UEFA Champions League. It is nearly time. It is nearly back. And let's start again talking here about Dembele, because PSG have now confirmed he's out for 6 weeks. He is going to miss a significant amount of time there with that hamstring injury that he suffered whilst away on international duty with France, and that does mean he is out for Barca against PSG at the start of October there. A big miss. Dembele has been, of course, so key for PSG. He also hurt us the last time that we faced him, in fairness, and that is a big blow there early on here for Paris Saint-Germain. And it's not only that either, because PSG in this break as well, they've also lost Doué. They have confirmed that he will miss 4 weeks due to a calf injury there that he suffered. So already, PSG early in the season, ahead of that game against Barca, they have real absences in their attacking line. And I would just say right here, guys, on the one hand, I do want Barca to be fully tested. You know, I'm not celebrating injuries. We'd never want to do that anyway, of course. But I do want to feel like we can go toe-to-toe with the best version of PSG. I want to face their strongest team. I want to show that we can really trouble the current European champions at their strongest. But at the same time, we're not at our strongest now either. You know, we also have injury problems. We're also trying to figure a few things out. We're still trying to find our form here at the start of the new season. So yeah, I think right now we'll take what we can get. You know, if PSG are missing a few, we're missing a few. We will see how we get on against them. What's your early feelings, guys, ahead of that upcoming clash? Because yeah, speaking about some of those problems that we have ourselves, well, let's talk here about Gavi right now, because I've got to say, every day, a little bit more concern creeps in. You know, it's not looking great in terms of the reports that we're hearing in the media right now. Apparently, he's almost certainly out of the Valencia game and then Newcastle as well. That's our first Champions League game because of that knee. He still is having pain in that knee. It started before the international break and it is persisting right now. And the problem is going to be, what happens if that pain doesn't go away? We know that he got a heavy blow to the knee. We thought that maybe over the course of the break that would just kind of subside. It hasn't done, and the club are now having to think of what would be the next step if that pain doesn't go away. Because there are rumours in the media right now, you will hear the talk of surgery. You know, Gavi could now undergo more surgery on that knee. But what we have to say about this is we're talking about arthroscopic surgery. Now, that is a very minor procedure. It's a type of sort of keyhole surgery. So that wouldn't be anything as significant as what he's gone through, of course, in the past. But if he was to go down that road, if we were to have that surgery, it would keep him out for another month of action. And bear in mind right now, guys, I think what the club are going to do is they're going to wait. You know, I think we're hearing in the media right now it's going to be about 3 weeks. Barca are going to give Gavi a number of weeks here to hopefully see that pain subside. But if it doesn't, then we might have to go down this sort of minor surgery route. And we do have another international break coming up. I mean, of course we do, in October. The international breaks at the start of this new season, they're ridiculous, honestly. Every year, you know, it really does get me. But yeah, we've got another break coming. The club are going to be looking at that, thinking, okay, when is the best time that maybe we could send him down that route? But of course we just want him to feel better, you know, we just want Gavi to be all okay. We know that he suffered such a horrific knee injury back in 2023. Don't forget, it wasn't just the ACL that was affected in that injury, it was also the meniscus, which is a very delicate part there that we've seen with many players in the past. So you've got to be careful with him. But hopefully he's going to be all okay. We want to see him back. We want to see him available. But that doesn't look like it's going to be in the next few games. Which also then brings us onto the topic of Frenkie de Jong. Now, on Frenkie, I was quite optimistic about him in terms of his fitness, in terms of his recovery there. Because listening to Ronald Koeman explaining basically why he sent Frenkie home, why he did leave the Netherlands training camp, he basically said, well, it's nothing serious. You know, he's going to be all okay. But he just couldn't play right now. It would have been too soon for him. So I thought that Frenkie, you know, within a few days, he might be feeling a bit better. Now, all we know at this stage is Frenkie this morning, he did not train with the group there at the Ciutat Esportiva, and already now he's in a bit of a race against time to be ready on Sunday. We're going to keep an eye on him during the week, you know, see if he does return to training. If again, it's all about discomfort. You know, it's not a major problem, but it's all about the way that you're feeling. You know, he had a number of problems last season where the pain was just there a little bit, you know, in his body, where things didn't quite heal as you hope they would do. So the thing with Frenkie is you don't want to put too much pressure on him. That's the way that Barca feel ahead of Sunday, because in Barca's mind right now, they are looking at that Newcastle game. They'd like to have Frenkie absolutely available for that, because we've already got problems ahead of that first Champions League match. You know, there's going to be no Gavi, it's expected. There may well be no Balde either, of course. He got injured during the international break, and we don't really want to add Frenkie de Jong to that injury list ahead of the first Champions League game. So Barca already here, early in the campaign, there are difficulties. There are problems, especially in the midfield area. And as we've said many, many times before, we need everyone. We need the full squad of players that we have to really step up. Because that then does conveniently bring us on to Marcus Rashford, who of course was brought in for depth. He was brought in there to add quality to the attacking areas because, yeah, when there's a few injuries here and there, when there's players who've been away on international duty and they can't play immediately, you need players who are ready to step up. And Rashford is one of those players who can provide us with depth if anything should happen to the attacking players in the Barcelona squad. And that is why it was quite extraordinary, to be perfectly honest, during this international break to hear rumours that started basically from nonsense outlets in the Spanish media saying, oh, Barca could actually terminate Rashford's loan early. They could send him back to England even this early on during his loan. And then, of course, what happens, if something like that comes out from Spain, there are certain English media sources that are just waiting. They are just hoping to pounce on something. They are very, very eager to write negatively about Rashford. That's exactly what we've seen across this break. They've all been a bit bored, and they've created nonsense reports. Because Barca, they're not considering ending Rashford's loan early. I don't even know if that's an option that's in the deal right now. Barca are going to have him for the season, and Barca are going to look to use him. And I just want to go over really the start that he's had, because you look at the opening game there, his debut against Mallorca, he came on for 22 minutes of that game. Now remember, at the time, he's coming on against 9 men who were camped inside their own box because all they wanted to do was keep the score down, and at that time there was no space, and Barca had really dropped their intensity. So Rashford's debut there was in a game that really didn't work out for him. There was nothing really more that he could have done in that opening game. Now we saw the second game that he played. He started against Levante. Flick was experimenting a bit with Rafinha in the 10, Rashford on the left-hand side. It was a really bad half from Barca. It was a chaotic half in so many ways. But even from Rashford, I would say, there was a few bright moments in there. There was a bit of direct running. He was looking to run at Levante. He was doing the job that Flick would have asked him to do. He got a good shot away at goal. Had to be a very smart save there by the goalkeeper. Won a corner in the process. So there were a few, flashes. Nothing incredible, nothing extraordinary. Nobody really played well in that first half against Levante, but it wasn't a complete disaster. And then you had the game against Rayo. He got half an hour at the end of that game, and it's just not quite clicking yet. And I don't just mean that in terms of Rashford's point of view, his own ability, his own performance here at Barca, but I also would just say, I don't think we're finding him regularly yet. I don't think we're finding him there with any sort of consistent passes, because at times the runs are there, at times he's sort of making the right moves, when the space does appear, but we're not quite picking him out. And the reason for this, can we just all zoom out a bit? It's because it's been 3 games. That's why these reports that we're hearing, it's all nonsense right now. He is so early on in his Barca career. We are so early in the season. All that he's played is 94 minutes. 94 minutes. That's just a full game. He's literally played 1 full game's worth of time at Barca. There is so much more to come, and of course he's going to have to do more. We hear rumours about Flick wanting more from him. Flick will want more from every player. Let's get that right here. The way that we started the season, it's not been good for many players. We will be asking and demanding more of them, and I'm sure that Rashford, he will work his way in. He will play his way in more into the plans, more into the quality of this team. Things will improve. Things will get better with time, but we do have to have some patience there, guys. And I thought those reports were definitely wide of the mark. It was really ridiculous to hear them, and then to hear the English media pick up on them. It was a nightmare situation, really, but Rashford will improve, and he will have to, but so, like I say, does this whole team right now. So those there, guys, are some thoughts right now as we still move our way through this international break. What have you made of Rashford's start at Barca? Do you believe there's potential in there? Do you believe there's quality that we will see come through as the season does develop? Please do let me know all of those thoughts in the comments down below. I cannot wait for Barca to return. I'm counting down the days until Sunday, and I'm really excited to build up to all of that with you guys. Thank you indeed here for tuning in. I will see all of you soon. But until next time, as always, Veshka, El Barça.